Boker Tov, good morning. Stephen Bruck here with another Messianic Moment message for today, Friday, November 17th, 2017. Tonight begins Shabbat. Tomorrow's Parsha. The Torah reading, as you saw just a second ago, is Toldot, the history of Yitzchak, Isaac. Now, this is a great story here. This Parsha is really cool. Most people know this story, even if they're not believers or even if they're not Jewish, because it's the big one. You know, Isaac and Rebekah have sons, twin sons, Esau and Jacob. And Jacob is the supplanter because he grabs Esau by the heel as Esau is coming out first. And later on they grow up. Esau is the hunter, the big guy, the Nimrod type. And Jacob is more of a studious type. It's described that he stayed in his tents, which rabbinically means that he was a studious person. And then one day he's making some stew, some red stew, and Esau comes out of the field, and Esau is a very passionate man. You know, we would say he's passionate. Really, he's just of the moment. He's very existential. And he says, I'm starving to death. I'm starving. Give me some stew, please. And Jacob says, no problem. Sell me your birthright. And Esau says, oh, what good is my birthright if I die? And Jacob says, swear it to me. So Esau swears. And now Jacob technically owns the birthright. In other words, he owns everything that goes along with being the firstborn son. Esau is fed, and later on, when Isaac is about to die, he says to Esau, I want you to go get me some game, make me a nice meal, I'll give you a good blessing. Well, this gets back to Rivka, that he's going to do that, Rivka being Rebekah, and she tells Jacob, hey, you're my favorite. You know what? Go get some kids. I'm going to do this. We're going to get your father to give you the blessing. And Jacob always thinks his way around. He thinks about things. Esau is all like, do it now. And Jacob, Esau is ready, shoot, aim. And Jacob's, let's think about it. And he says, hey, I'm going to get bowled out. I'm going to get cursed because I'm not Esau. I don't have hairy skin. I don't smell like Esau. Mom says, don't worry, your mother will take care of it. Just do what I say. So she cooks the game, takes it to his father. She dresses him up with sheepskin on his back of his neck and his hands and arms, and she puts him in Esau's clothes so he stinks like Esau. And when he goes to his father says it's Jacob's voice, but it feels like Esau. He says, are you really Esau? And Jacob lies through his teeth. Yes, I am. So they eat. Isaac eats. He gives the blessing to Jacob, and just as Jacob leaves with the blessing, here comes Esau saying, hey, Dad, here's the game. Let's go. I'm ready for my blessing. And his father says, trembling, who are you? He says, I'm Esau. He says, who did I just give the blessing to? Because somebody came, said they were you, smelled like you, felt like you. I gave him the blessing. I have nothing left for you. And Esau says, I want a blessing, I want a blessing. Anyway, so ends up that Isaac does come up with a blessing for Esau. But Esau is really pissed. And he says, as soon as my father's dead, I'm done mourning. That's it for Jacob. He's a dead meat. He's dead meat. He doesn't even know it yet, but he's dead. He'll be sleeping with the fishes. So, again, Rivka gets the word of this. So she obviously has a few little spies floating around. And she sends Jacob off to her brother Laban in Padan Haran. And she does that by getting Isaac to do it. Very sneaky. She does it by getting Isaac to do it, telling Isaac, I can't stand these hideous women. I don't want Jacob to marry. Send him to my brother so we can marry somebody, one of us. So Jacob says, get out of here. Good luck. May you be. And he blesses him again and sends him on his way. Meanwhile, Esau looks. He says, hey, they don't want Canaanite women? Fine, I'll go get an Ishmaeli woman. So he gets basically somebody from Abraham's family, and he marries her. So he has 3 wives already, none of which really please anybody. And that's the end of the Parsha. So much in here. So much good stuff. One thing I just want to mention. Have you noticed how everybody's kind of sneaky? First of all, there is a part in here real quickly where, just like his father pimped out Sarah, Isaac pimps out Rebekah when he goes to live in the land of the Philistines, under Avimelech, which I don't think was the same Avimelech as his father, because he'd really be old. It could be. You don't know. Anyway, they're still in Avimelech. He lives there, and he still says, no, Rebekah's my sister. She's not my wife. Don't kill me for her. But they find out, fortunately, and he gets the same thing. And then God blesses Isaac, though, many times. He appears to him twice in this Parashah alone and blesses him. And eventually, Abimelech and Isaac make a pact over a well. And they say, you don't hurt me, I won't hurt you. Fine, no problem. And they go on their way. But he did the same thing that his father did, out of fear, even though he should have trusted God. And so he's kind of sneaky. We know that Rebekah clearly is kind of sneaky. And who's her brother? Laban. Well, we know how sneaky Laban is. We may not know it now, but later on we're going to find out really how sneaky he is. We already know Laban from when Eleazar was there. Laban's into money, and he's kind of sneaky about a lot of things. So, anyway, what happens is Rebekah's sneaky, even to fooling her own husband in order to do what's right for her son, her favorite son. So, Isaac was all about Esau. Rebekah was all about Jacob. That's the way it goes. We've seen how favors, having a favorite son really does things. We see this later also with Joseph. Right? So, the rabbis tell us that we should love all of our children equally in order to prevent any one favorite from becoming a source of discontent within the family. And Jacob, we can see he's kind of sneaky, although that's what we want to talk about. Jacob. Did Jacob steal the blessing? All right, we're going to go first about the blessing, and then we're going to go back to the birthright. Did Jacob steal the blessing? I say no, he didn't. He didn't steal the blessing. What he did is he prevented his father from giving a blessing to someone who was not entitled to it. Because, now we go back, because Esau sold his birthright. The birthright meant nothing to Esau. In fact, rabbinically, it said that Jacob was only testing his brother because he knew that the birthright of the firstborn included being the religious leader of the family. And this is also true, where's my finger? This is also true back with Laban. I'm going ahead of ourselves, but later on, when Jacob leaves Laban, Rachel steals all the family gods. Well, the family gods were left to the firstborn. And he used those, and all the other brothers and sisters and family members and cousins, they would come over and they would ask his approval, ask him to pray to the gods so that they would have successful farming and births and such. So the firstborn is the religious leader. And the rabbis tell us Jacob knew that Esau was not going to be a very useful religious leader. Esau had no real respect for his birthright. The only really saving grace about Esau was his love for his father. So the rabbis tell us that Jacob really wasn't being sneaky or underhanded. He was testing Esau to see if Esau really cared about his birthright, because Esau wasn't going to die. I mean, that stew wasn't going to kill Esau if he didn't eat it. He would have made it back to some food. So Jacob was testing him, and I think that could be true. I think there's definitely something to the fact that Jacob knew Esau wasn't fit to be a firstborn as far as a religious leader of the family. But the real point is Esau sold it. Esau sold the birthright. So what's that tell us? Does that tell us that Jacob was sneaky, or that Esau was faithless and did not deserve his birthright? I mean, we can do a whole drosh just on how is that similar to what's going to happen to us when the enemy comes and tries to take away our birthright, the salvation we get through Messiah. Are we willing to apostatize for something as simple as stew? There's a whole drosh in there, but that's not where I'm going tonight. Although that would be a pretty good drosh, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do that some other time. Make a note. Remind me. So, Jacob tests Esau. Esau fails the test, and Jacob receives the birthright of the firstborn. So when Jacob goes to steal the blessing, he's not stealing something. It's owed to him. What he's doing is he's preventing his father from misusing the blessing of the firstborn by giving it to someone who's not entitled to it anymore. So I say that no, Jacob did not steal the blessing. Jacob did not finagle the birthright. Jacob tested Esau. Esau failed the test, and as such, the birthright was given to Jacob. Many times we see throughout the Bible that the firstborn was not the one favored. The firstborn of the firstborn of Jacob was not favored. Okay? The firstborn of Abraham was not favored. Firstborn was Ishmael. And if you go down the list, you'll see many times firstborn of Joseph. was not favored. Okay, Ephraim was favored over, Manasseh was favored over Ephraim. So, it's, was it the other way around? Well, anyway, you know what I mean. So, we see this happening often in the Bible. And later on in the Torah, it actually prevents that from happening. The Torah says that essentially the firstborn gets a double portion, period. No matter whose the mother is, no matter how much you love everybody else, the firstborn is the firstborn, das ist alles. So the Torah kind of stops this kind of finagling. But again, the point is, did Jacob steal the blessing? No. It was his blessing. He owned it. It was his entitled blessing. Did he sneak around to get it? Yes. But why? Because Isaac would probably not have gone along with it. If Jacob went in and said, your son sold me the blessing, it could have been something where Isaac said, well, I don't care. I'm going to give my blessing that I want to give to Esau. So they had to kind of finagle around Isaac. And Rebekah was behind that, more than Jacob. So even though Jacob owned the rights, it was Rebekah, his mother, who actually initiated the receiving of the blessing that he was entitled to. So that's all I want to do tonight. I think it's a different take on it. Hopefully you find that interesting. And if so, please comment. I really would appreciate comments. If you think this is good or bad, it only takes a second. Subscribe to the video, but more important, go to my website, please, and subscribe to my website as well, messianicmoment.com. Buy my books. If you like what I say, please share me around. I'm trying to enhance and advance my ministry here, and I would appreciate any help. If you think I'm saying things that make sense, that honor God, then please help me out. Other than that, I want to wish you all a wonderful Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for listening, and we'll be talking to you again soon. Goodbye.